know, when this old world starts a-getting me down and people are just too much for me to face, I'll climb up to the top of the stairs and mow the lawn. I don't remember that. Well, nowadays, escaping to the roof is taking on a whole new dimension with a phenomenon called green roofs. According to the EPA, planting vegetation over a waterproof membrane can reduce heating and cooling costs, insulate against sound, absorb pollution, reduce sewage loads, and extend the life of roofing materials. While the initial cost of construction is considerably higher than using conventional materials, over time, the savings make it cost competitive. Plus, as demand for green roofs goes up, the price is expected to go down. They're already a big hit in Europe, and noteworthy installations in the U.S. include the green roof at Gap headquarters in California and Chicago's City Hall. Maybe a green roof is right for you. The details have already been worked out. All you have to do is figure out how to get the lawnmower up there. Learn more at islaearth.org. Isla Earth is produced by the Catalina Island Conservancy with support from its Fund for a Sustainable Planet, because Earth is an island.
Hey guys, do you know your testosterone levels? Why not? Did you know that your levels drop every year as you age? By 45, you may have already lost up to 50%. That's like driving your car without knowing what you've left in the tank. Find out today with Progene's painless at-home testosterone test kit. Then we can help you fill it with Progene, a leading natural testosterone supplement. Progene is the only testosterone supplement in the country with a clinical-grade test kit. Call 1-800-883-5803 for details. But you can only get your risk-free trial if you call now. How do you measure up? Call now to try Progene and we'll include a testosterone test kit, all for less than the cost of a doctor's visit. Complete the program and we'll even send you a second test kit, a $60 value for free. Measure your levels before and after Progene and see for yourself what Progene can do for you. Call 1-800-883-5803 for details. That's 1-800-883-5803. Again, that's 1-800-883-5803.
Are you sick of the stock market? Do you wonder when this market turmoil is going to end as it heads up 300 points one day and down 300 the next? Are you analyzing other investment opportunities? Don't just head into this unknown territory blindly. Jim and Lorraine Conaway, hosts of Smart Money Talk Radio, will take you through their step-by-step systematic approach to analyzing investment opportunities and potentially help you discover what choices may be appropriate for your situation. Call 888-266-2929 now to schedule your complimentary consultation, and you will also receive your complimentary investment evaluator CD. That's 888-266-2929. This is a Smart Money tip brought to you by Smart Money Talk Radio, hosted by Jim and Lorraine Conaway on KCAA 1050 every Monday from 3 to 4 p.m.
Securities offered through J.P. Turner & Company, LLC, member SIPC. Investment advice and financial planning offered through J.P. Turner & Company Capital Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor. J.P. Turner & Company, LLC and J.P. Turner & Company Capital Management, LLC are not affiliated with Conaway & Conaway, Inc.
From the realms of astronomy, space, aviation, weather, this is the Dr. Sky Report.
I'm Dr. Sky with the Dr. Sky Minute from the realm of astronomy, observing the moon. Skywatchers take note. As the moon continues to wane, and all throughout the month of August, there will be many great opportunities to observe some of the specific features that I'll be talking about on Earth's nearest neighbor, the moon. Let's start out with one of the most amazing craters. When we see the moon at its full phase, if we look into the southern portion of the moon, we come across the great crater known as Tycho. This is one of the moon's most famous objects. We see a ray system emanating from this crater that stretches well over 900 miles in just about all directions. This crater is thought to be some 108 million years of age and some 53 miles in diameter. Don't miss it. Above all, always remember to keep your eyes to the skies.
Hi, this is Brett Malik from the KCAA Morning Show once again for Pollen Burst. I've been taking Pollen Burst since the beginning of this year, and before I was taking Pollen Burst, I was an absolute physical and mental wreck. This is what I felt like before taking Pollen Burst. And now since taking Pollen Burst, I feel like this now. Since taking Pollen Burst, I've noticed some dramatic positive changes in my memory, my mental clarity, and my attitude. And if you take Pollen Burst, it can do wonders for you as well. So I invite you to order Pollen Burst on my website, BrettOnSports.my90forlife.com. That's BrettOnSports.my, the number 90, FOR, life.com. BrettOnSports.my, the number 90, FOR, life.com. And order your Pollen Burst today so you and I can burst together with Pollen Burst.
Did you know here at KCAA 1050 AM that we developed an app for all your Android devices? We're talking about your smartphone, your tablets, you name it. You have an Android format, you can take KCAA with you everywhere you go. We're talking about our audio stream, our video stream, and even our podcast. Go to KCAAexpress.com. That's KCAAexpress.com. KCAAexpress.com.
KCAA, your local connection for news, traffic, weather, and sports. AM 1050, KCAA.
It's that time, ladies and gentlemen, live from Hawaii. This is the Roseanne Barr Talk Radio Show. And now, here's Roseanne Barr.
Welcome to Roseanne Live. Hi, Roseanne. How you doing?
I'm good. They need, we don't have the introduction right where we say co-hosted by Kathleen Wells. So
that's
I'm saying it.
That's so sweet of you to say that. I mean, you know what? You and I haven't gone over how we should actually do the introduction, and we need to do that. That where we love.
Yeah, we should do that.
Yeah, we should do that. That would be great because I usually say welcome, Roseanne Live, Roseanne Barr followers and KCAA, because you've got so many fans. People love you, Roseanne. I usually say welcome, everyone, Roseanne Barr fans and also KCAA listeners. Welcome to Roseanne Live. That's what I usually say, but we'll think of something more dynamic. What do you think?
I think we should have some kind of a Rockettes. The Rockettes, we should have a line thing where we kick.
I like it. I like the idea. we have to do something.
Well, I'm excited about our guest today. But before we bring her on, I just wanted to give a shout out to my friend Charlie Hill. He is in his last days on this earth, and he has terminal stomach cancer, and he called me last night and said goodbye, and that was the first time I've ever experienced anything like that. Someone who is so honest about death and honest about it, doesn't surround it with a lot of mythology, and that is because Kathleen, he's a great stand-up comedian. I first saw Charlie Hill on Richard Pryor's ill-fated 4-episode television show. I know how weird television can be, but there was Charlie Hill, America's first stand-up Oneida Native American comedian, and he brought the fight. It was an unbelievable thing to see on television. It ranked right up there with seeing Richard Pryor first as a comedian, and then seeing all the comedians that I saw on television when I was a little girl and decided to become a comedian myself. But Charlie Hill is a brave, honest, wonderful friend. He has a wonderful family. He has never sold out, not for a moment, not for a second. He always, there's going to be a benefit in Los Angeles on November 19th for Charlie at the Laugh Factory.
You mean December 19th?
I'd like to steal all Charlie's material, and I might just do Charlie's material because some of the most brilliant stand-up comedian material ever written. He talked about being a Native American in this country, and he brought it. When I won the American Comedy Award, I asked Charlie to go up and deny it like Marlon Brando did with that sashing little feather on the Oscars. Remember that, Kathleen?
Yeah, I do.
And I thought that would be kind of funny and also commemorative. And Charlie Hill said, "Oh, don't set me up there because I'll go all Malcolm X on him. I don't think it's funny anymore." And he went to that point where he didn't think it was funny anymore, so he went home and lived in service to the Oneida tribe in Wisconsin, and also his wife is a Navajo, and he has lived in service to those people too. He's just a great American, a great hero, great stand-up comic. And I just want to tell him, have this on the radio that, I loved you, Charlie, and it was a pleasure to know you, and a wondrous privilege to ever be able to work with you and to meet your family. And I want you to have the lightest way of transitioning to wherever it is you're going next. The lightest, purest, most kind transition. I wish that for you. And so that's what I had to say about that today, Kathleen. And then what else? What other thing were we going to talk about?
Well, I think that's wonderful that you gave a tribute to your friend on air. I'm not familiar with his name, but I'm sure I would recognize his face, Charlie Hill. And I think the event you talked about is going to take place in December, right? December 19th?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
December 19th.
So speaking about transitions, I think wonderful tribute to Charlie Hill, your friend, a Native American, indigenous. Not all, it is not apt to say Native American necessarily. Some people say indigenous. And I got into an argument with someone on Twitter, on your Twitter page about the taking of land, that issue. We kind of got into an argument. But speaking about passing, people passing, we can't go on without mentioning the passing of Nelson Mandela. We've got to talk about that. And how appropriate to talk about the passing of Nelson Mandela and to have as our guest an African woman. I think, we booked Kola Booth, writer, author Kola Booth, prior to Nelson Mandela passing. So, that was just a coincidence, and I think an apt coincidence, a wonderful coincidence. What do you think?
Well, I'd like to hear what she has to say on the subject of Mandela and discuss it for a few minutes. But I just want to thank you, Kathleen, for bringing her to my attention. Cola, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Cola.
Cola.
Yeah. Coca-Cola.
When I first saw her stuff, I was like, oh, no, this is like a twin. This is a twin to me.
Oh, I thought I was your twin. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Well, you are a twin to me too. You're in my kin. The way we think is very similar, and the fact that we can discuss things without wanting to declare war on each other at the end, even though we disagree. This is a great thing to pattern for America at this time, because they're trying to turn everybody on everybody right now.
Right. And you and I talk about very hot bed issues, controversial issues, particularly Israel-Palestine. And I love the fact that you're Jewish and I'm a black woman, and we're able to discuss Israel and Palestine and have guests on that disagree with it. Yeah, and that's a tribute to you, that you're able to have guests on that disagree with you, and yet we can discuss it. And so this is
well, that's what you get in a free society, as we know. You get an entire palette of opinion, and then you discuss them. But America, we've had that taken away, Kathleen. All we get is blame, hate, and separatism shoved down our throat 24/7 on our media, and it's all a bunch of lies too. So let's bring on our guest, Kathleen. Can we first ask her about Mandela and then talk about her life?
Okay, so before we bring on Kola, let me tell you a little bit about her. Kola Booth is a writer. However, she is famously known, or rather infamously known, for being the unwilling mistress of Osama bin Laden. She was
I need to know about that. I'm going to ask you about that.
Well, we have only so many minutes. No, I'm kidding.
No, I don't talking about.
Yeah, well,
I don't mind talking about anything.
Okay, but I want to give people the full introduction so they know who our guest is. I think that's important. She was born Naima bint Harath in Omdurman, Sudan, to an Arab Egyptian archaeologist father and a Gisawak Oromo mother. In 1978, Kola's birth parents were murdered in her presence for speaking out against slavery and other atrocities by the Sudanese government. In the following year, she was adopted and raised in Washington, D.C. by Black Americans Marvin and Claudine Johnson. In 1993, Kola Booth became a citizen of the United States. In 1994, she returned to North Africa to pursue a career in modeling and acting. Miss Booth has written for NBC's Days of Our Lives. She currently lives in Southern California and has 2 sons. She has been interviewed by MSNBC, Fox News, and CNN, and has been featured in TV Guide, Time, the New York Post, and the New York Times. Her latest novel, which I have read and I think should be made into a movie, is The Sexy Part of the Bible. That book is both controversial and mainstream. It received...
Hey, Cola, bring it back towards you a little because it's fuzzy. No, the other way, I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the book. That's the book. I read it, and I'm a good reader, and I read a lot, and I recommend that highly. It should be made into a movie. It received star.
I gotta read it. I'm gonna get it and read it.
You should read it. It received star reviews from the Boston Globe and San Francisco Weekly and was praised by many publishers, by Publishers Weekly Book List, Time Out New York, and many others. Ms. Booth has published several novels and poetry collections on small black imprints to much acclaim. These titles include Flesh and the Devil, Long Train to the Redeeming Sin, Nile River Woman, and Pure Nigger Evil. Kola Booth won the 2007 World Authors Woman-to-Woman Pen for Nonfiction, awarded for her essay, I Am My Own Daughter, which appeared in
I love that.
Yeah, isn't that wonderful? Which appeared in the popular...
Yeah, I get that one. Let me ask her something now.
Oh, okay, so you don't want me...
Are we done with her massive credits? Because I have to ask her something.
Okay, go ahead.
You lived through some shock and trauma at a young age. I mean, how old were you when your parents were killed?
We believe that I was between 6 and 8 because we don't know for sure what my age is because Sudan issues birth certificates later, like 3 or 4 years later after you're born. And so we believe I was between 6 and 8 when UNICEF took me to England. So that's when my parents died.
Who killed your parents?
The Mahaleen in my country, the Arabs, and you and I, this is where you and I really are sisters, Roseanne, because I'm a huge supporter of Israel. Because of what the Arabs have done in my country, my father, who was Arab Muslim, spoke out against the building of Lake Nuba. He spoke out against the enslavement of the Dinka, Jor, and Shilluk tribes in the southern part of my country, and for that, his own people, the Arab Muslim people, the Mahaleen, came to our home, escorted him and my mother out into the back of the house, and killed both of them. They left me alive, and I was sent to my Egyptian grandmother, Nejet Kobukek. She put me up for adoption because my skin is black, and the rest of my Arab family are what we call white Arabs. And so she gave me away to UNICEF, and that's how I ended up coming to the United States as a small child.
Well, I can tell that, people who have that, a level of shock and trauma in their young lives before, adolescence, we seem to be people who can see right through to the heart of how a system works, right?
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
So I don't think I'm as wise as you. I'm 20 years younger, and I still have stuff to learn, but I do think, especially after I read Roseanne, which is your autobiography, which is just amazing. Everybody should read it.
Oh, yeah, Roseanne.
Roseanne.
Like Anna. with Rose in the front.
Roseanne Archie. I totally agree. I mean, these things change you. I was there. I stayed with the bodies all night, and it changed me forever. I stayed with the bodies all night, and I have developed a sense, I think, of that from fearlessness. I came out of that.
Did you have the feeling that when you were going through that terrible, dark night of the soul, I mean, that's like the tortures of hell as a child, did you feel that did you feel like something was still helping or guiding you through the experience?
Yes, I have a lot of friends who are atheists, and I am like always, you know, intellectually I would like to be an atheist, but I always go back to that night, and I always tell them there was something there with me. I heard their blood going into the ground, and I was soothed, believe it or not, by some other power. It wasn't my parents. It was the feeling as if they were asleep, and there was something there. And this is Sudan, where there are no lights, there's no electricity, it's black. This is at night. And there was something there that soothed me, that held me, that as much now, 44 years old, intellectually, I often, you know, just feel, you know, there is no God. But then I go back to that night, age 6, and there was something there, you know.
Well, perhaps that something was, you know, something that can't be named, you know?
Right.
Because when we say God, everybody right away, they come up with the man.
Exactly.
That's what they see. It's a man. As soon as you say that word, that's what they see. Am I right?
Yes, that's why I wanted to read a special poem to you later. It's very short, but...
read it now. Read it now.
I wrote this years ago, and this is to you after reading Roseanne Archie. It's from my book, Nile River Woman, over 12 years ago, but it's called Bint el-Nil, which means daughter of the Nile. I want a new religion, the one our mothers had in the river. I am tired of Jesus and Mohammed. I am tired of man's foot. I am tired of the white master's mother. I am weary from doing nothing about it. I want my own religion. I want my real mother. Africa, I want you. Make me pregnant with God. Our own perfect babies, black as perfection, tall as the sky, healthy as light sparkling on clear water. I want my own religion. I want my own voice. I want my own face. I want my own hair. I am Naima, the one who is victorious, the one who is praying. Roseanne, my real name.
That's so incredible.
Oh.
I felt every word of that. I love that.
Thanks.
That's genius. That is what I call the genius.
My birth name is Naima bint Hadil, and so that's why in the poem it says my name is Naima. Yeah.
Do you feel a destiny? You feel a destiny. I can sense it in the way you talk.
Let me tell you something, Roseanne. All this week, people have been complaining to me, you're kissing up to Roseanne. You're trying to get onto, and what they don't understand, I don't see you as a comedian. It's like Richard Pryor, Lenny Bruce, and I put you in that league of people who you really masquerade as a comedian. But no, it's true, because you really, you're an empath. You're an empath. You're a person who empathizes so much with everything in the world. You're connected to everything in the world so deeply that the only way that you have to laugh to keep from crying, basically. You have to laugh to keep from crying and make others laugh to keep from crying because you know too much and you're trying to help us. I feel that same kind of artistic destiny. You know what I'm saying? And I was telling my friends, I'm not kissing up to Roseanne. I'm not trying to butter her up. I genuinely am touched and moved by Roseanne Archie, and also I've always liked you as, you know, I love the movie She-Devil. I love the series Roseanne. To me, the series Roseanne was always about giving. That was the whole message of it that I got as a kid, was that this is giving. But I just really resented people saying that, oh, you're just kissing up to her. No, I genuinely really connect to this.
Well, all my friends are saying you're just kissing up to Cola Boo.
Oh, really?
That's what my.
I mean, okay, but
if they do how cool you are, you're one of the coolest women in the world, and I love how you just talk about. I do want to talk about colorism. Oh my God, I really want to talk about that. But we want to say something about the passing of Nelson Mandela. And Kathleen, you jump in here now.
well, what I wanted to say is that, yes, I think both of you are empaths, and can we not be empathetic for the Palestinian people? This, to me,
Of course we are.
well,
I am, yes.
this is,
I am empathetic, Kathleen, but let me explain this really quickly, because bombs were dropped on us too in Omdurman, Sudan, Juba. 2 million Sudanese in the south were displaced by Arab Muslim bombs. Palestinians killed my uncle. They come to Port Sudan. They get all the jobs. They are allowed to be armed, and the black Africans are not allowed to be armed. They call us E, which is the N-word, basically, in Arabic. They are as racist as any people on earth, and I'm just personally sick of, and I love Alice Walker, that's my hero for life. But this is the thing that I have with Alice and with, I can't think of her name right now, but the politician who goes there all the time.
Cynthia McKinney, who is Roseanne's very dear friend.
She is a friend of mine, and but we have nothing in common on that specific issue, except for, you know, I had to search my conscience because that's all I care about. I don't care about, you know, what color, what somebody looks like, what state or line they live behind. I want the suffering of all people to end because it's totally unnecessary and obsolete. And from that point of view, that's how I can deal with people who are so stuck on one group. When, you know, there's nobody. I just want to say this: there is no innocent person on this earth, no innocent adult, and you know, specifically, there is not one innocent American. And so I just think, well, you know, it's just time to stop friggin' doing it. Stop serving that beast of blame and hate and separatism. Let's figure out what we're going to do about it, because you know what? It'd be real easy to get rid of it.
And one of the things that Nelson Mandela stood for was, aside of getting rid of the system of apartheid and bringing down that wall of separation, was reconciliation. I think he was very, you know, and that's something that I was discussing with someone on your Twitter page, is that Nelson Mandela stood for reconciliation. Otherwise, as I heard today, there would be blood. After apartheid, there would be blood running through the streets. But for Nelson Mandela.
Was, Kathleen.
No, there was not blood.
Nelson Mandela presided passively over, you know, a lot of, you know, a genocide of tribal people. You know, while he, you know, you know.
No, what do you mean? I don't know.
He was unfortunately put in an unwinnable place. But I don't think you can talk about Nelson Mandela at all, and I honor how people honor him. I do honor and feel that they honor him. And he should be honored, simply because he survived what he survived. But nobody ever brings up the fact that it's his wife, Winnie Mandela, who was his partner and who carried the torch in the hearts of the people for him, and she's never mentioned. That makes me mad.
Roseanne, you are speaking for us African women now, because that's how we feel. That is what we talk about at the kitchen table that you don't see on the news. We talk about how Winnie Mandela, who is the mother Winnie of South Africa, who has really done so much more as far as the actual people. Nelson Mandela is popular with the entire planet because he did what the power sources the government wanted him to do. So those governments celebrate him because he's a man. They, put everything with it. It's Winnie, if you go into the streets of South Africa, who the people realize has done the most work for the people. I'm not taking from Nelson Mandela. I love him and I honor him forever. He is the father of Africa. We love Nelson Mandela. But I agree with what Roseanne is saying, and she just said something that African women, we say this every day at the kitchen table where no one can hear us. So, it's true.
Well, so that goes into the issue.
Remember when they brought Winnie down, though? Do you remember that? Because at that time I was in a feminist collective, and she was our idol, and it was that was a scary day when they brought her down.
What do you mean brought her down?
They always do that, though. They do it to you, Roseanne, just in a different way. But you're going through the same thing, believe it or not.
What do you mean brought her down? What do you mean brought her down? What do you mean?
Well, any woman who tells the truth about what the shit really, excuse me, I can't swear on here. Any woman who says the truth about the powers that be and how they retain power through terrorism, and who can write the biggest check to force.
Right.
But this country is this country, I mean, people don't really realize what's coming to this country because, they're so completely numbed and unawake and drugged. But you must know what is coming here, because look at the way, this is what capitalism does everywhere. It goes where the money is and then steals it and then leaves the people to turn on each other.
Right. It's terrible. I know, and I'm going to go into Osama bin Laden a little bit right now, because when I was dealing with him, I got to be around a lot of the Arab men. I got to meet a lot of men in that part of the world, which is my world, actually. I speak Egyptian Arabic. That's my first language. I'm from the Arab world. But I don't think Americans realize the hatred that really is aimed by the Arab world at the rest of the world. And nobody wants to, mainly because the victims are...
I don't understand why they don't. But you know what? Americans are in the business, the mind-controlled business. I was thinking about it. And it is that, they cannot. They have been programmed never to blame the guilty. They can never get their balls in shape to blame the guilty. They are just finger pointers to keep the heat off of the real thing. Exactly. So of course they're doing that. Of course they're doing that because they have misplaced empathy. Because if you don't see where the stuff goes all the way to the top, stay out of it. Stay out of it then. Just stay home.
Roseanne, something that you don't realize, Farrakhan has had a campaign to keep me from being heard. Many of the Arab American corporations, for instance, this is a white male journalist named Stephen Milner. He went on Pacifica Radio and said he had been offered money to make up lies about me. And so this is what they do to us. It's what they do to you. It's what they do to me. They try to keep you silent where you can't be heard. You can't be talked about. They said I'm a nutcase. They try to peddle this whole smear campaign where I'm a nutcase.
Who's they? Who's they? It's not Arab men doing that. Who is they?
It is Arab corporations.
Arab corporations in America?
It's a bunch of men who are billionaires, and they look every which way, and they got their billionaire boys club, and the rest of the world, they're taking bets on who's going to die the fastest, Kathleen.
And let me tell you, Kathleen, when I was with Osama, I watched it carried out, how these men are billionaires, like Roseanne said. Osama was one. And they carry out smear campaigns. They finance whole PR firms to smear you, to lie on you, to do everything to get people to think you're crazy and that you are just, they've made me a fraud. She's a liar, this, that, and the other. That for years I have been smeared, Kathleen, only because I am giving a different message in the black community from Farrakhan. I'm giving a total opposite message from Farrakhan. I lived in Haifa.
Well, it is all about, I would love to interview Farrakhan about, he always is talking about media control. Yeah, he's a genius at media control. He shut down every opinion but his in every newspaper across America and news source because, you know, he's got a lot of money behind him to do that.
I mean, come on, you guys. Farrakhan does not control the media.
I'm not saying,
oh, my God.
There aren't racist Jewish people. There are definitely Jewish people.
There certainly are.
Yeah, everybody in the world has racists.
But Farrakhan is... no. Well,
I lived in Haifa. I lived in Tel Aviv. I'm just saying, as an African woman who has lived in Israel, that's where my modeling career started. My husband is Jewish. I have been always involved with these people. I was treated better by them and more human by them than I was when I was with the Palestinians. I have also been around them.
Well, they're black Palestinians. They're black Palestinians. But your experience...
From slavery, let's not leave that out. Black Palestinians come from the slave trade at Boston. They come from slavery. That's the only reason that there's black people in Iraq and in Palestine and all these countries. And they're still enslaving us. They're still committing genocide on us. Over 1 million Sudanese in my country were murdered because of these Arab governments. And the Palestinians are part of the people who are saying it never happened. They are part of the people who call us a bee. You know, I understand, I empathize with Palestine. All of my royalties from the book Politically Inspired went to the Children's Palestinian Fund. I'm not against those poor innocent children and the good people there who are... What I'm saying, though, is that the Palestinians are no more innocent than the Israelis.
Yeah, there's no innocent people, and people go around like they think they're angels or something. Angels, we have heard on hot. They think that they're not guilty while they're standing on top of stolen Indian land, looking across the ocean. You know, people just are after the people are after the Jews again, and they are specifically after the world's second largest Jewish population. They're after us, and the reason they're after us is because the media tells them to do that.
What?
The alternative media tells them to do that.
They don't, you know, I don't think that that's true at all. I try to write for the alternative media and the mainstream media, and there's no way that my pieces that talk about the Israel-Palestine thing are even allowed in that media. So that's my experience.
Well, you have a show here on
yeah,
Wednesday.
this is independently
You talk about it
owned.
every week.
But this is independently owned. It's not the mainstream media. This is my experience.
You're totally right about that.
This is independently owned. No other. Listen, I've worked for KTLK. They're not going to let me talk about the Israel.
It doesn't tell the truth about anything.
No, but to suggest that the media is pro-Palestinian is just not the reality, Roseanne. I mean,
Kathleen. Okay, now, Kathleen, let me just say this. Let me say this, Kathleen. All my life in this country, going to the churches, it's a Judeo-Christian country. And I've been told in black pulpits all my life that the Jews are, everything that was said in Germany, they're saying in the pulpits on Sunday morning.
We're devils. We're devils.
Right.
We're white devils.
And I mean, we do have this thing in the black community, at least I can speak for the black community, because I am really despised for supporting Israel or for having, you know, I'm friends with Benjamin Netanyahu. He featured me on his website.
Well, yeah, that's because Israeli Miko Pelet says that it's apartheid in Israel. That's why. And we had apartheid in South Africa.
I support Netanyahu, but this is what I'm saying, Kathleen.
That does a disservice to apartheid. I'm going to talk for a minute about that. Does a bad disservice to apartheid to say that, Kathleen.
Why?
Because apartheid, there were no black people in the ruling body, but in Israel there are Palestinians within the Knesset. So
yeah, but Palestinians
don't think
in
that's apartheid.
Well, listen, let me tell.
Insulting the reality of apartheid and what was done to the black people of Africa there.
Hey, listen, if Palestinians have to walk on the other side of the street in West Bank Hebron, if they have to enter their houses via the roof, I call that apartheid. Okay? If you have to walk on...
Why is it okay for the Palestinians in Sudan to make us...
And that's wrong, too. That's wrong, too. I'm not saying that's right. But they're both wrong. And we have to come down on the side of humanity. I'm not saying that it's right what they did to you.
We have to come down on the side of fact and truth and not emotionalism.
Exactly, and I have Palestinians.
And not anti-Semitism and everything that you've learned all your life in church, and then you pretend.
I didn't learn anti-Semitism in church.
I heard it everywhere. I'm from Salt Lake City.
But I didn't learn anti-Semitism in my church.
Every
I didn't.
day of my life. My brother was 9 years old and had his nose broken 9 times by the time he was 9 because he was a Jew in Mormon, Utah. So I have lived with anti-Semitism, and I see it all over the world. I know what it looks like. I know what it smells like.
But what is it when the Palestinians have to walk on the other side of the street? What is that? And when they have to enter their house via the roof, what do you call that? When Palestine.
Despicable, and I want it to end. And as you may or may not know, Kathleen, I put forth a plan on how that can end, and I often say I'm going to go over there and run for president of Israel.
Right, I know.
Absolutely, democracy and integration, but you're not going to integrate people who come out in the street and say they want to murder you. You are not going to do that, and until they stop saying that, what the hell did they expect?
Okay, well, we're not going to talk about. No, let's not talk about Israel-Palestine with Kola Booth because she is not an expert on it. So let's get off of Israel and Palestine and let's talk about the.
Wait a minute. Let me say this as an African woman, as someone who's from North Africa, as an expert on that. Let me just say this. When you keep saying they have to walk on the other side of the street and all of these things, don't forget that they are also owning Dinka people right now as slaves.
That's why I said they're both.
Wait a minute. Because you keep talking and you're not letting the whole story come out. What I'm saying is that it is totally wrong how the Palestinians are being treated. But at the same time, they are the same people. They are the same evil that you're trying to claim that Israel is. And nobody why is Africa not important? Why is it that Americans, and especially black Americans, refuse to look at what Arabs are doing to us African people in North Africa? Look at how they slaughter us in Libya.
Well, that's what you're here to talk about. And they're both evil. They're both evil.
Hold on. Give me a minute to tell everybody why. Because at one point in European history, when empire decided it was going to own the Middle East, and it decided it was going to own Africa, and it decided it was going to own, Southeast Asia, and all the resources under the feet of the people who lived there, just like it did here to the First Nations. That's the actual term. People like not Native American and not tribes, but First Nations here. That's exactly what they did to them first, and then they exported that everywhere else around the world. When empire decided that it wanted to own the Middle East, what it did was encourage 3 religions that hate each other's guts and will kill each other. They love stirring that pot because they sell the weapons to all sides, because that's how the effing stock markets work. When people die and you sell weapons, they go up. When people lose their homes and their jobs and their lives and their life insurance and their pension, the stock market has a boom.
Right.
And who owns the stock market? The Queen of England, who is worth $33 trillion. And, she loves stirring that pot over there. But you know what? I have to also say this because, everything that sucks and is wrong about Israel, I agree. It sucks and it's wrong. Like I say, I do have a solution you can read about on my website. But, you can't just blame one side of that crap because that's mind control that makes you do that.
Right, but
you gotta look at how this world works, and it works on slavery, it works on war, and it works on crazy usury to make people debt slaves.
Right, but what I'm saying is that we have to come down on the side of humanity. And I do not think that it was right what Arabs have done in Sudan. I think that's wrong, too. 2 evils don't make any rights. That's the point I'm making. We cannot.
What do both of you think of this? I think if women were running things, none of this stuff would happen. That is my conclusion of 61 years living as a woman on this earth. If men, they just like to fight. They're socialized, they're programmed, and they're raised to do it. And that's all they do. They just look for a fight.
It's so true, Roseanne. It's so true.
Well, so what should we segue into now? Should we talk about women voices being silenced because you think that women should run the world? Do you want to talk
I
about
want to talk about colorism for a few minutes. I'm so intrigued on hearing what you have to say about that, Cola.
Okay.
Well, I just think that's the number one issue facing the black people of the earth. We act like financials is and politics is, but if you don't love yourself, if you don't even like your own body, your own skin, your own hair, and it even affects me. You know, I'm not wearing my real hair. I have the same illness as everyone else who is black. If we don't deal with it and talk about it and get it out there, we are going to disintegrate and we are being destroyed. Roseanne had mentioned to me on Twitter that Jewish people also suffer from a very similar form, and I've seen it. Not with this husband I'm with now, but I dated a Jewish man before named Jeff, who used to say all these horrible things about Jewish women. And it just reminded me so much of what black men do with a black woman, no matter what, you know, if she's black, there's nothing she can do right. Everything is wrong about her. And that's how this Jewish guy was about Jewish women. And so...
Yeah. They hate us. They hate their own moms. They hate their own effing moms. That's how crazy. They're so neurotic. They hate, but they, like I say, or Sandra Bernhardt says about Hollywood, the only Jewish woman any of them guys will help is Whoopi Goldberg.
You say that? Wait, I missed that, Roseanne. Say it again.
The only Jewish woman that any of those guys in Hollywood will help out is Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh, come on. You think that's true?
Well, it's kind of an ironic thing to say.
Yeah, I think it's funny. It's funny. It's
Kathleen,
funny.
It amazes me, Kathleen, that you don't see all this. What she's saying is very true because I've been around Jewish men who have this anti-Jewish woman thing.
They hate us.
Right, and it's like black men, Kathleen, do us. You've seen black men.
Oh my God! I mean, I see everything. Hello, and the thing, and life is more complex than that. I can't just put everything that I've seen into this conversation. I've seen everything. That's why I do commentaries for the Progressive Voices channel. I see it all. Yeah, black men hate black women, no doubt about it. But there are exceptions to the rule too, and a lot of black men will get mad at me for saying that.
That's
I know,
right.
And I'm friends with a lot of black guys, and they'll say
exceptions. We're just talking generalities.
Yeah.
Right.
And of course, there's wonderful exceptions.
Of course, there's exceptions. My husband claims that he loves Jewish women. His son is by a Jewish woman. So he told me I'm wrong, it's not him, but he does admit, Kathleen, that his friends who are other Jewish men, he says that they say all kind of horrible, stereotypical things about Jewish women being princesses, and all the stuff they say about us black women that black men say is the same thing Jewish men say about their mothers. I think
one thing I noticed when I hear them say the things they say is they're talking about their own self, because I'll hear Jewish guys say, oh, well, she's loud and they're not talking about me, talking about another Jewish woman.
So this is the question.
No, she's loud and offensive, and you I'm like, you are loud and offensive.
Well, this is the question for both of you. Well, this is the question for both of you. Do you think?
And yet you think that's normal.
Do you think? This is the question. Do you think that more black men marry black women, or more Jewish men marry Jewish women?
Well, they say that it's like in the Jewish side of it, it's like 80% don't marry other Jewish people, but 80%.
You think 80% of Jewish men don't marry Jewish women?
Yeah, that's what the statistics say.
My honest feeling is that doesn't even matter to compare the two, because oppressed men have this self-hatred. And that's what we need to deal with, is not to keep raising these sorry sons who, because who wants a son who hates his own mother? I don't. And I have 2 boys, Roseanne. And I raised them.
2 boys too.
Right, I've raised them from birth to appreciate dark chocolate skin, not to be against anyone else. I don't raise them to be racist, but I raised them to love the image of their mother and to love the image of their own people and to love themselves, because like Roseanne said, it's really the person hating themselves. It's when they complain about these things, it's really them that they are mirroring.
Yes, I agree with that.
Why are they too stupid to know that? I mean, men and women are too stupid to figure out the stuff they hate is the stuff they do.
Exactly.
Why can't they figure that out?
Well, because men aren't as
people can't
smart
be
as
honest
women.
with themselves, Roseanne. People are in denial about life.
Yeah, I think denial is a big thing. And they don't do introspection. There's
Right.
no introspection.
Right.
Because, I mean, you know, Roseanne is thinking I'm anti-Semitic, but listen,
I do not.
I know. Now that was my joke. See, that was my joke. Now, so, see, she doesn't get my jokes, right? But I think that when we look at the degree of in the black community of unemployed people, it is never below 10%. The unemployment for black people is never below 10%. Never. Can you say that about the Jewish community, that the unemployment rate is never below 10%?
But see, this is
if you
the thing,
really
Kathy,
hate
now
it, you
you're
can't
on
get
a
a
whole
job.
other subject. That's a whole other subject. That has nothing to do with colorism. It's a whole other subject of racism and all that stuff. And this,
I give it to her though. She's right that it is in America black unemployment is at like
it's never below 10%. If there was so much anti-Semitism, believe me, you wouldn't have a job.
But I thought you guys wanted to talk about colorism. That's
Okay.
what I'm saying. Of course it's true. Of course it's true that blacks are, you know, but an issue that we never discussed, Kathleen, is colorism. We keep getting on everything else, and we don't stick on to skin bleaching.
Right. Let's stick with that.
Stick on it. Go for it. We're sticking on it.
Yeah, let's stick on it.
Bleaching our skin in Africa. We now have blonde hair weaves in Africa. So this is showing you how it's becoming global. It's so accepted. People can go on talk shows and say that they hate their blackness, and no one questions them. You know, people laugh right along with it. And it's just, there needs to be a movement against this self-hatred, against someone saying, I don't want a black baby. A black man in the delivery room complaining that his baby came out looking like him, that it didn't come out lighter. I should have got with a white woman so my baby would come out lighter. I mean, that is devastating to millions of black children. If he's saying that in delivery room, what is he saying at home to these black children that he abandons?
Yeah, but I mean, can we talk about, let's talk about the male, let's talk about the men of, you know, of your culture. And really, it is all men, too. It's not just black men or Jewish men. It's all of them to me. But how have they been so horribly programmed by their own mothers to be such self-haters?
Because women internalize patriarchy to the point that most women are also patriarchal. Most women are sexist. Most women, I've seen this growing up my whole life, women are the ones who taught us to hate being a woman, to hate being black, to think that we deserve to be mistreated by men, that it's okay. Everything has to privilege the male. We privilege the male in every way.
I remember.
Why do we do that? I mean, it's forced on us. But what about the effect on the sons? Because I have two sons too. What about the effect on them of all that stuff? I mean, they're just. It's just sad.
It is sad. But you know what? Boys, what they see happening to their mother and what they see their mother accepting is what boys grow up to think is right. If they see you being beaten by your partner and you accept that and you don't move, they, believe it or not, become hateful of you for staying and being battered. If a black woman is allowing her husband to call her, tell her she's too black and ugly and this and that, then those boys grow up believing, well, it must be true because mom didn't leave, she didn't fight against it, and we have so many black women who, like I said, we have self-hatred as women too, and so we believe all these things about ourselves, Roseanne, and we keep the myth going. And then women in general. I've had white women come up to me about my book, The Sexy Part of the Bible, saying, Cola, I went and had liposuction and this and that because I felt I was too fat, I couldn't fit clothes. I changed my body instead of realizing that I'm normal. I am just what I'm supposed to be. Somebody on Madison Avenue and a skyscraper deciding that I should be a size 4, otherwise I'm not a woman.
Well, you know what?
Oh.
You know what? Those guys in those skyscrapers on Madison Avenue, they know, and they have the figures, and they know that selling self-hate to women really works. It brings in the money. You know, first sell them fast food and then diet programs on, because all they do is sit there and watch TV, you know. So, I mean, they know that it works, and it works so well. It just, I mean, that you would hate yourself so bad that you infect your son and your daughter to hate themselves too. It's like, and never be aware of the fact that you were raised and programmed to do that.
Exactly.
Never be aware of it.
Exactly. I want to just say a shout out to my Black American mother because she saved my life. I had a strong, courageous Black American mother. She loves you so much, Roseanne, by the way. I have to tell you. She's just over the moon. She's watching right now. But I had a Black American mother and grandmother who were just so wonderful and so supportive, and they worked overtime on us 3 girls. Because there's 3.
Well, your father, too, I mean, I thought it was cool because you were talking about your father was like, no, we don't accept this.
Yes.
You know, your father was like, no, we don't accept this treatment of women.
My Black American father loved Black women, worshiped Black women, and he taught me that I was a chocolate princess, gorgeous, beautiful. He always told me that. I mean, every day he told me and my sisters that we were beautiful and wonderful. But he was very worried because all his friends were very colorist. All of the men he knew, even my brothers, because he had to beat up one of my brothers one day for saying the only thing a Black woman can do for him is give him a blowjob. This is what my brother said to my mother. And my mother's a Black woman. And so my father beat him up for that. But my father was very worried because he kept saying, I hope my daughters can even get a husband because these men out here hate Black women so much.
Well, we got 2 minutes. We have 2 minutes.
Man. I did my first.
We have 2 minutes, and I want to say that, Cola, why don't you tell people about your video blog so they know to check that out?
We only have 2 minutes now. We got to have her on again, Kathleen.
Yeah.
It's YouTube, my video blog. Tonight's episode, I'm actually reviewing Roseanne's book, Roseanne, which is my new book.
Oh, boy. I've never heard an intelligent review of that book where they're trying to stuff that in every garbage can they can find.
You're going to cry when you see this video blog then, Roseanne, because your book has touched me so much. Every woman needs to read this book. Oh, my God.
I didn't write it for women, but, you know, I mean, they just like, I say, oh, it was just witch burned. You know, and women they just line up to witch burn other women. That's what's happening in America right now. And, you know, it's like, you know, it's all based on, it is a colorist thing, and it is a class thing, and if you're saying certain things about all of that, you know, you're crazy.
Yeah, witch burning. Well, we've got 1 minute. I want to thank Cola. Roseanne, close us out. We've got 1 minute.
I love talking to both of you. I love that we have a difference of opinion. Let's keep talking. Let's keep bringing it out. Let's try to find our way to each other so that we might be able to do something for the children who suffer in this world needlessly.
Yes.
As women are supposed to do, as mothers are here to do. It's time for the mothers.
Yeah, I love this discussion. I wasn't witch burning. I love you both, and we definitely have.
I didn't say you.
I know. I'm just saying I would never witch burn another woman. I
love you too, Kathleen.
I know
and thank you for making this happen.
You're very welcome. You hear the music.
You're just a fantastic partner and a wonderful producer of content for radio. It's always a pleasure to co-host with you, and thank you so much for introducing me to this
Wonderful
woman.
woman.
I'm
Cola's
going to read
fantastic.
that book. Say the name again,
The
Kathleen.
sexy part of the Bible. You both are fantastic. We should praise all of us. Women are fantastic. We love women. So, Cola, we're going to have you on again. Thank you very much for being a part of Roseanne Live. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
I'll see you on Easter.
See you next week.
You're on board KCAA's Inland Talk Express. KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 AM, the station that leaves no listener behind.
From the KCAA Weather Center, I'm Rod Tanner. For this afternoon, we'll wrap up the holiday weekend with mostly sunny skies and a high of 78. Overnight, it'll be clear. We expect a low of 51. Monday should be sunny to start the week with